He's too weak to stop us, my sister whispered, taking $37,400 from my inheritance for a dream wedding. I remained silent, just called grandfather's attorney. At the reception, police officers arrived with fraud charges. 56 missed calls later, she's still begging from a jail cell. I, 28 males, never had the best relationship with my sister, 22 females. Growing up, she was always the golden child, the one who could do no wrong in our parents' eyes. Me. I was just the quiet kid who kept to himself and tried to stay out of trouble. Our grandfather was different though. He saw through my sister's act and always had a soft spot for me. You've got a good head on your shoulders. He'd tell me when we'd go fishing at his lake house. Not like your sister, always wanting without earning. When grandfather passed away 3 months ago, it hit me hard. He was 87, lived a full life, but still, the world felt emptier without him. The funeral was somber. My sister cried dramatically, making sure everyone saw her grief. Meanwhile, I just sat quietly, remembering our fishing trips and his stories about serving in Korea. A week after the funeral, we all gathered at grandfather's attorney's office for the reading of the will. Father and mother were there, along with my sister and her fiancé, Derek. The attorney, Mr. Goldstein, was a serious man in his 60s who'd been grandfather's friend for decades. To my granddaughter I leave $15,000, Mr. Goldstein read. My sister's face fell. She'd been expecting much more. Then came the bombshell. To my grandson, I leave my lake house property, valued at approximately $450,000, and my investment portfolio worth $212,000. The room went silent. My sister's face turned red. Father looked shocked. Mother stared at the floor. This is bullshit. My sister finally exploded. He gets everything and I get pocket change. Mr. Goldstein simply looked at her over his glasses. Your grandfather was very specific about his wishes. The distribution reflects his decisions, not mine. The drive home was tense. My sister refused to speak to me. Father tried to mediate, suggesting I do the right thing and share more with my sister. Mother just kept sighing heavily from the back seat. I didn't respond. I was processing everything, and honestly, I was grieving. The lake house meant something to me. It wasn't just property. It was where grandfather taught me to fish, where we talked about life, where I learned what kind of man I wanted to be. 2 weeks passed. I visited the lake house, sat on the dock, and just thought about grandfather. I decided I would live there, quit my job as a history teacher, and find a position at a school closer to the lake, start fresh. That's when the text started from my sister. We need to talk about grandfather's money. It's not fair that you got everything. My wedding is in 4 months, and I need more for it to be perfect. I ignored them all. The inheritance wasn't about her wedding. It was grandfather's life savings, his property meant to be respected, not splurged on a one-day party. Then came the family dinner. Father and mother insisted we all get together to hash things out. I knew it was a trap, but I went anyway. Your sister's wedding venue fell through, father explained over pot roast. The new place costs more. She needs help. My dream venue, actually, my sister corrected, smiling at Derek. It's where celebrities get married. $50,000 for the weekend. We've already put down a deposit. I nearly choked. $50,000 for a venue, plus the dress, catering, flowers, she continued, as if discussing grocery items. We're looking at about $95,000 total. That's excessive, I managed. Well, not all of us want to live like hermits, she snapped. Some of us have social standing. Derek's family expects a certain level. Derek, a banking executive with a perpetual smirk, nodded. My cousins all had 6-figure weddings. It's standard in our circle. I looked at my plate. I'm sorry about your venue, but that's not what grandfather's money was intended for. Sister slammed her hand on the table. You got over $600,000. I got 15. How is that fair? Father leaned forward. Son, your grandfather wouldn't want to see the family torn apart over money. Maybe you could loan your sister some money for the wedding. Say, $40,000. Loan, sister laughed. He doesn't need that money. He's a teacher. What's he gonna do with investment portfolios? I stood up. I need to use the bathroom. As I walked down the hallway, I overheard my sister in the kitchen with Mother. He's always been weak, she was saying. We'll convince him. Dad's working on him now. I don't know, honey, Mother replied. He seems pretty set on keeping it all. He's too weak to stop us, my sister whispered. If he won't hand it over, I'll just transfer it. I still have his account details from when I helped him set up his online banking last year. I froze. Was she seriously planning to steal from me? Just $37,400, she continued. Enough for the venue and my dress. He probably won't even notice for months. By then the wedding will be over. And what's he going to do? Sue his own sister. I walked back to the dining room, said I had a headache, and left early. On the drive home, I called my bank and changed all my passwords. Then I called Mr. Goldstein and left a message asking to meet urgently. The next morning, my phone exploded with notifications. Several transfers totaling $37,400 had been attempted from my accounts overnight, minus those that were declined due to my password changes. Minutes later, my sister called. What the hell did you do to your accounts? She demanded. Changed my passwords. Standard security practice. I need that money now. But then you won't hold our date past today without full payment. You mean the money you were planning to steal from me? She paused. I don't know what you're talking about. I heard you in the kitchen. The whole he's too weak to stop a speech. Real classy. You're twisting things. I was just goodbye, sis. I hung up. Within minutes, Father called, then Mother. I sent both to voicemail, then I drove to meet Mr. Goldstein. This is very disturbing, he said, after I explained everything. Your grandfather was concerned about something like this happening. That's why he structured the will as he did. What do you mean? Your sister has a history of financial impropriety. Your grandfather caught her trying to get him to sign over property to her 2 years ago, claiming it was just routine paperwork. I wasn't entirely surprised. So what do I do now? Document everything. Screenshot the attempted transfers. Save the text messages. And he hesitated. There's something else you should know. He pulled out a sealed envelope from his desk drawer. Your grandfather left this with me to be given to you if there were any issues with your sister regarding the inheritance. Inside was a letter from grandfather and a USB drive. The letter explained that he'd been documenting my sister's attempts to manipulate him financially for years. The drive contained recorded conversations, copies of falsified documents she tried to get him to sign, and a detailed accounting of money she borrowed and never repaid. She's sick, son, the letter concluded. Not in a way doctors can fix. She believes she deserves everything without working for it. I tried to help her for years, but some lessons have to be learned the hard way. Don't let her do to you what she tried to do to me. I felt like I was seeing my sister clearly for the first time. Over the next 3 months, things escalated. My sister began telling family members I was withholding money grandfather had intended for her. She claimed I had manipulated him in his final years. Some believed her, including several cousins who stopped speaking to me. Father kept trying to mediate, suggesting I be the bigger person. Mother would call crying about how I was destroying the family. Meanwhile, my sister's wedding plans continued at full speed. Somehow, she'd found the money elsewhere. I later discovered she'd taken out 3 high-interest loans and convinced Mother to give her their retirement savings, promising to pay it back after she resolved the inheritance issue with her brother. 2 weeks before the wedding, I received an invitation. This surprised me. I'd assumed I'd been cut out. Attached was a handwritten note. Water under the bridge. Family is family. Please come. Love, sis. Something felt off. I called the one cousin I still trusted, who was a bridesmaid. Oh, yeah. They're planning something, she confirmed. Derek's father is going to confront you at the reception about doing right by the family. They've been telling everyone you stole her portion of the inheritance. That same day, I checked my bank accounts and felt my blood run cold. Somehow, $37,400 had been transferred out that morning. I immediately called the bank's fraud department, then Mr. Goldstein. The bank traced the transaction. My sister had used my mother's computer where I'd once logged into my accounts and apparently never logged out. The money had gone directly to the wedding venue and a designer dress shop. Mr. Goldstein was blunt. "This is felony theft. We need to go to the police." I was hesitant. "She's still my sister, who stole nearly $40,000 from you," he reminded me. "Your grandfather warned you. Some lessons have to be learned the hard way." After filing the police report, the detective explained they wouldn't arrest her immediately. "We'll investigate first. Gather evidence. These family financial cases can be complicated." I attended the wedding ceremony. It was extravagant: ice sculptures, champagne fountains, centerpieces that must have cost thousands. I smiled, congratulated her, took photos with the family. She seemed relieved, probably thinking I hadn't noticed the money yet. At the reception, Derek's father cornered me by the bar exactly as predicted. "So you're the brother who's been giving my new daughter-in-law such a hard time," he said, martini in hand. "You know, in my family, we believe in sharing good fortune." "Is that right?" I replied. "A man's character is judged by how he treats his family," he continued. I'd hate for Derek's new business associates to hear about his brother-in-law's selfishness. Before I could respond, a commotion erupted at the main entrance. 3 police officers were walking in, scanning the room. My sister spotted them and immediately looked at me, her face draining of color. She knew. The detective I'd spoken with led the officers over to our table. "Catherine Johnson?" he asked my sister. "Yes." Her voice was barely audible. "You're under arrest for felony theft and wire fraud. You have the right to remain silent." The reception exploded into chaos. Derek was shouting. His father was demanding to know what was happening. My mother was crying. Father stood frozen watching his golden child being handcuffed at her own wedding reception. As the officers led my sister out, she locked eyes with me. "You bastard," she hissed. "Your own sister. On her wedding day." I didn't respond. I just watched as the officers escorted her through the stunned crowd of guests in her $12,000 dress, paid for with my stolen money. Father rushed over to me. "What have you done? Call this off immediately." "I didn't choose the timing," I said calmly. "She stole $37,400 from me. That's a felony. She was going to pay it back." Mother wailed. "Like, she paid back grandfather. Or, your retirement savings, she convinced you to give her." Mother's face went slack. "How did you?" Derek approached, face contorted with rage. "You ruined everything. Do you know how this makes my family look? About as bad as marrying a thief, I'd imagine." The aftermath was predictable. My sister spent 2 nights in jail before Derek's family posted bail. She faced felony charges. Serious ones given the amount stolen and the premeditation evidence. Mr. Goldstein provided grandfather's documentation, which established a pattern of behavior. In the week following the wedding, I received 56 missed calls from my sister, father, mother, Derek, his parents, and various relatives. Voicemails ranged from threats to tearful pleas to drop the charges. I didn't return any of them. The prosecutor offered my sister a deal: repay the money, perform community service, and serve 30 days in county jail. She refused, believing she could beat the charges or that I'd eventually cave and drop them. She was wrong on both counts. 6 months later, she was sentenced to 18 months in prison for felony theft and wire fraud. The judge was particularly unimpressed with her lack of remorse and her repeated claims that the money was rightfully hers anyway. Derek filed for annulment a week after the sentencing. Father still doesn't speak to me. Mother calls occasionally, usually to guilt-trip me about destroying your sister's life. I moved permanently into grandfather's lake house. Sometimes, sitting on the dock at sunset, I think he knew exactly what would happen. He could have split everything equally between us, but he understood my sister better than anyone. Some lessons have to be learned the hard way. Last week, I received a letter from the correctional facility, where my sister is serving her time. It was short. "I hate you for what you've done to me, but I think I hate myself more. Grandpa always said I'd end up here, if I didn't change. Maybe he was right." It wasn't an apology, but it was something, maybe the first honest thing she said to me in years. I took the letter down to the dock, read it one more time, then tucked it into my fishing tackle box, next to grandfather's old pocket watch. Some wounds never fully heal, but the lake is peaceful, and the fish are biting. Life goes on.